Good morning. As you can see behind me, we've got the Husqvarna MZ61 in the shop again this morning. Did the annual service on this for one of the neighbors here a few weeks ago, and noticed when we had it in here how many hours were on it, and figured the hydrostatic transaxles had not been serviced. And by the look of the oil that's draining out of it right now, I'd say it probably hasn't been. So I watched a video on one of these. I think it was an Aaron's machine. Looked very similar, same hydrostatic drive, but there's a little bit of a difference in I'll call them the vent plugs at the top, which you have to remove before you do the oil change, and then you leave those out as you fill it, and that's how you tell when it's full, is when it starts leaking fluid from those. So these are a little different, so I'm going to crawl underneath here and show you what we got going on. Again, this is a Husqvarna MZ61 Hydrostatic transaxle fluid change and filter change. Okay, so you can see we've got the plug out of this side. I'll try and get some light in here. Way up at the top. And in there, you'll see there's an opening, and that's where the oil is currently dripping from. So that would be as you're sitting on the machine, the left side of the machine, the left rear wheel. The right rear is going to be a little more tricky because you've got that belt tensioner pulley assembly right there. And for the life of me, I don't see how I'm going to get that bolt out of there, that fill plug or vent plug out of there without removing that pulley. So as you can see here, we've got a 1/2-inch drive, square opening to put a ratchet or ratchet extension in. So we're gonna get in there, we'll put some pressure on that, get the belt off, and then a 19mm drops this nut, and then this whole assembly should drop out of our way. I don't know how much of that I'm gonna be able to film for you because it's really super tight under here, but once I get it off of there, I will show you what we're looking at, and we'll go through the rest of the procedure. All right, a little update for you here. What I found was to release the belt from the rear drive pulley on the bottom of the engine and then let it set in between around the shaft in order to get the slack I needed to allow that pulley to swing forward. I'm not super thrilled about pulling that off of there. Well, a little update for you. I was actually able to get that we'll call it a fill plug. It's not a fill plug, it's more of a vent. But I was able to get that out of there without pulling that pulley off of there. Just having it rock forward a little bit helped, I think, give me a little bit of room. It's not gonna be easy to get back in there, but I didn't have to pull that off. But I just wanna show you guys the color of this oil that's coming out of here. Now keep in mind, that's 20W50 motor oil. It's pretty nasty looking. So I'll set you guys right down here as I crack this side loose. Yuck. Stuff's almost green coming out of there. I don't know what kind of oil they put in it, but I guarantee it wasn't that color when it went in. At least I hope not. So I think it's been a minute since these were serviced. So we'll let that all drain out of there for a while, and we'll screw a couple new filters on and go through the fill process here in a few minutes. Well, while this is draining, we'll talk about this again here a little bit, but what I had to do, just kind of as an overview, to get these plugs out was I used an 18mm wrench, which seems to be exactly what size that is. I'll get you turned up in here and show you just to see. But You can kind of see up in there that pulley's still in place, and I don't know, maybe I didn't need to pull the belt loose. I just thought I would try one last time to take that plug out before I went to the work of pulling that idler assembly down out of there, and I'm glad I did, because the more you have to tear apart, the more can go wrong. You can see it's still draining. I am actually gonna let this down. In order to get room to get up under there, I had to jack it up and put it on jack stands. So we are gonna be putting Valvoline 20W50 VR1 racing oil in this thing, just mainly because it's got more zinc, a little bit more wear protection for this, being it's running 200-300 hours between changes. It's a lot of hours on this stuff. So, and then the filters we got off Amazon, they just say JD speed motor or JDM speed motor. Internet say we're still 25 bucks for 2 filters, and we paid 50 bucks for oil today, $10 a quart for that. A little bit less than synthetic, so should do the trick for him. It's certainly going to be better than what was in it. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil in the filters. I'm not gonna be able to fill them up completely because they do sit on their side, but I always like to kind of prime them up a little bit so they're not completely dry when we start putting oil to it. Okay, so we have the new filters on. What you guys set up here. See, there's one there. There's one there. Nothing too exciting, just spin them on, get them tight, like a normal oil filter. And now what we're gonna do is we go up top and you fill it up here, and then that oil goes down these hoses that come out of the bottom of this. One here and one right here. And that'll fill both sides at the same time. And then you just go back underneath and watch for the oil to start dripping down on both sides from where those top vent plugs are. And once you've got oil coming out, they're full. So then you got to put the plugs back in. And after that's done, you just make sure that, try to get you down in here, there's a fill line and it's quite low. Full cold is way at the bottom of the reservoir here. So it doesn't hold very much in the reservoir on both sides here. And then that's it. So we're going to start pouring some oil to it. According to what I read on the manual and what I've seen on the other video, it takes about 4.5 quarts. By the time you fill, there's 2 quarts in each hydro, and then roughly half a quart, which I highly doubt that's even going to take half a quart. So we'll see how she goes. I imagine it's going to take a little while for this 20W50 to work its way down in there. This is definitely a job you wouldn't probably want to do when it's cold out. 20W50 is thick enough as it is. It doesn't need any help. Our reservoir is just about full already with 1 quart, so I think it's going to take a little bit of time for that oil to work its way down in there. There's 1 full quart there. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll dump another one in it. Yeah, you probably saw I spilled a little bit on that first one, so we got a funnel for round 2. Quart number 2 going in. Can't quite get a full quart in there before the reservoir gets full. You can definitely pour it a lot faster than those hoses let it go down into those hydros. It's a slow process filling them back up, that's for sure. Well, I've got 3 quarts in it, and according to everything I've read, it's 2 quarts per side, so I am going to expect on this 4th quart to start seeing it drip from those hydros. Well, I just saw a drop on the left side, but I don't know if that's because it's getting full or if that was from when I drained it. Yep, there it comes. It's running down the side right there. You can just see it there. So I would expect we should start seeing it on the other side here in any minute. I think I might be able to get the plug in that right side, so I'm gonna try and do that. without jacking it up here. Yep, that one's easy to get at. I can reach right up in from the back side and put that one in. I guess I would rather have it leak out of that side first if I had a choice. That way I can get the plug in. Get our wrench up in there and tighten that plug while we're waiting on the other side. And I can see it running down the side right now, so here it comes. Now the trick is going to be get this plug back up in here. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Definitely more challenging to get the plug in on the right side with that bracket there, but it is possible. It's just very challenging. Just enough room to get a finger and a thumb up in there, and I have it in place at the moment and I'm spinning it with one finger, so it should slow my oil down quite a bit. I think I got it about as tight as I can get it with my fingers. Well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now I've got to get back under there and put that belt back on. I'm not going to video that. Not sure if I needed to do that or not, but I guess I'd have to try to take that plug out without pulling the belt and see if there was enough room or not. But got the reservoir filled up just a little bit more full than what it shows. I'm anticipating there's going to be some air in there. So the next procedure obviously would be to start it up once the belt's back on, run the engine for a while, and then move, the machine around. I'll probably lift it off the ground with a jack so I can turn the wheels, without putting any load on them with the hydros and let them kind of bleed some air out that way. But that's pretty much it. I'll get a little more footage here as I finish things up, but wasn't terrible. But honestly, the worst part of this job is that right side upper vent bolt. Other than that, pretty easy job. There are covers over both of the oil filters to protect them from damage, so I didn't video taking those off, but there's just 3 small bolts that hold them on. Well, she's all wrapped up. Drove it up and down the driveway a few times. Doesn't appear to be any air in the system. I'll just tell the guy to watch it here for the next couple of days and see if he notices it going down after he mows his lawn. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hope you found the information helpful as always. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.